Senator Arguin.
Thank you, Madam President and colleagues. I rise to present Senate Resolution 71, a resolution recognizing something foundational to California's future, affordable homeownership. Homeownership isn't just about housing. It's one of the most proven pathways to economic stability, generational asset building, and long-term opportunity for California's families. Yet too many Californians, especially lower-income families and communities of color, that pathway is increasingly out of reach. Research consistently shows that families who achieve homeownership experience better health outcomes, stronger educational results for their children, and greater long-term economic mobility. Children of homeowners are likely to graduate, perform better academically, and benefit from the stability that comes with a permanent home. Homeownership also strengthens neighborhoods. Homeowners are more likely to vote, volunteer, and serve as leaders in their communities. However, only 18% of households can afford the medium-priced home, and California's homeownership rate is just 56%, ranking 49th in the nation, and the disparities are stark. Latinx households are about one-third less likely to own a home than white households, and black households are nearly half as likely. These gaps are not accidental. They're the result of decades of exclusion, and addressing them is essential to our communities and to our commitments to racial and economic justice. California's housing crisis is fundamentally a supply crisis, especially for entry-level homes. Increasing the supply of affordable homeownership doesn't just help buyers, it relieves pressure across the entire housing market, including helping address skyrocketing rents. Colleagues, this resolution states that our housing strategy must include paths to ownership, alongside rental and homelessness solutions. I respectfully ask for your aye vote as we reaffirm our commitment to housing future generations of Californians and ensure that ownership pathways, stability, and generational opportunity can be achieved for all Californians. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Senator Grayson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise as a proud co-author of SJR 71. It recognizes the important role of affordable home ownership to the future of California and acknowledges the role that nonprofit home builders play in delivering the housing that is so much needed here in California. As a matter of fact, it's my generation that had access to the concept of starter homes, which was really the first step into the housing ladder, allowing an affordable entry point for home ownership. Unfortunately, these opportunities don't exist for younger generations that are trying to get into the home ownership area. So with that, the legislature here, I know we have done in the past few years a lot to address and advance affordable housing and to advance home ownership. But there's still a lot of work left to be done. It is very important that we recognize the vital role today of nonprofits such as Habitat for Humanity. It just so happens that I've had several opportunities to visit build sites, especially on Women's Build Days, where we go out and we actually build together. And with that, future homeowners actually have the opportunity through work to build work equity and to actually receive the opportunity to walk into the front door and be able to call it their home as a homeowner. With that, I ask for us to support SR 71.
Senator Durazo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise also in strong support of SR 71. Home ownership is one of the most powerful avenues for achieving economic mobility, especially for low-income working families. I'm a proud co-author of this resolution because community-based building models opens the door of home ownership to families who otherwise would never afford to purchase a home. Habitat for Humanity, as my colleague just mentioned, has created these opportunities throughout my district, including making the dream of home ownership come true in the 710 corridor. Over 70% of my constituents are renters. Affordable home ownership provides the opportunity to build equity and long-term stability in California's housing market. This will help address our housing crisis, create wealth, building benefits for working families, and foster social cohesion amongst our communities. It is also important to prioritize the construction of affordable home ownership by supporting the Cal Homes program in funding these opportunities. I respectfully ask for an aye on this important Senate resolution and thank the author.
Senator Wahab, you're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you. I rise today in support of SR 71, which recognizes affordable home ownership. Home ownership, and I've said this many, many times, is one of the most significant wealth-building tools that remain a core part of the American dream, shared across party lines. In fact, 96% of Americans, regardless of socioeconomic background, believe home ownership is the cornerstone of the American dream. Affordable home ownership creates financial stability for families by protecting them from rising rents. It also supports upward mobility by providing generational wealth. However, systemic and forceful government action implementing residential racial segregation has been a leading factor to the low home ownership rates amongst communities of color. Redlining has impoverished and disempowered many communities by confining them to inhumane housing environments. Zoning laws, racially restrictive covenants, and discriminatory lending practices has explicitly excluded many people of color, as well as low-income individuals, from many neighborhoods and home ownership opportunities. Families denied home ownership go decades without equity to pass down, making it difficult for future generations to enter the housing market. I do want to flag that today many first-time home buyers are purchasing their first home at the ripe age of 40. A significant shift from previous generations who were able to buy much earlier, in fact, at the age of 24. This is a deep concern of what we are doing in the housing market across the board. Many people today are renters in California, some living multi-generational households in a rental unit. Again, we need to prioritize home ownership, affordable housing, and housing for all. I respectfully ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
Senator Caballero, you're recognized.
Sorry, Madam President. I rise as a proud co-author of SR 71. As we know, California has some of the highest housing prices in the nation. Currently, prices for mid-tier homes are about $755,000, which is twice as expensive as a typical U.S. home of the same tier in other states. Frankly, way out of reach in my entire district. Homeownership is unattainable for many Californians, and the cost of building and buying homes continues to rise, creating affordable homeownership opportunities for working families become even more urgent. Nonprofit builders like Habitat for Humanity are a great example of doing more for less and meaningfully contributing to the housing stock to improve affordability across the state of California. I've had the honor of working with Habitat for Humanity. I have no building skills, but they accept all volunteers, and the opportunity to be able to go in, meet the future homeowner, work alongside them, to be able to have their dream become a reality is a really emotional experience. And if you've never seen a family receive a key to the home that they are purchasing, you have missed out, because it is the most emotional experience to see little kids beside themselves because they finally have a room to call their own. And so this resolution is critically important. I want to thank my author and respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Gomez-Reyes.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in proud support as a co-author of Senate Resolution 71, which recognizes the great importance of home ownership. I've often talked about the fact that my parents bought their first home when they were in their early 20s, many years ago as young immigrants and with young kids. My mother always reminds me to say, please add, that first house cost us $1,000. But nonetheless, from that house, they were then able to buy the next house, and then the next house, and the next house. My mother has stability now in her retirement because of those investments, beginning with the first home they bought. Becoming a homeowner is a significant milestone in a person's life. It signals economic stability, generational wealth building, and housing security. Owning a home should be affordable to all Californians, especially for lower income families and people of color. Homeownership means more than just acquiring property. It's about planting roots, building a legacy, and creating a sense of belonging within a community. And for many, it becomes the testament to their American dream. Nonprofits and agents of change, as has been mentioned earlier, like Habitat for Humanity, help build this reality by increasing the supply of affordable housing and strengthening our neighborhoods. This is a critical way to address the racial and economic disparities that persist for aspiring homeowners. California must remedy these wrongs by producing more housing, creating more pathways to homeownership, and supporting the creation of intergenerational wealth for all its residents. SR 71 recognizes the invaluable impact of homeownership. It provides a secure foundation for families and provides them a brighter future. I thank the author for presenting it, and I urge and I vote.
Senator Archuleta.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in support of SR 71. And I think one of the problems that we have is getting out to the general public that there are plans out there to help the first-time home buyer. We've got to encourage that. As an example, Calvet, our own Calvet right here in California, representing our veterans, 5% down. It is available. The insurance goes with the program. They don't have to worry about that. We've got to encourage the veterans that you have in your communities to look at Calvet. It's a great opportunity for the first-time home buyer. And they can double team with their family that also is a veteran and double team so they can afford the house. Affordability is the issue. The other is obviously the FHA programs that are still there for first-time home buyers, 3.5% down. And here's the catcher. They can include their mother, their cousin, their uncle, and their brother all coming together to qualify for that loan. And that is the issue. One day the interest rates will come down, but right now it is an issue. But we have to encourage that we maintain our Calvet, our FHA, and the first-time homebuyer programs that are out there by some of the banks that are out there. So I encourage all of us to have our staff and look into some of these and promote it in our communities. And with that, I do support SR 71. Thank you.
Senator Rubio, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I also rise in strong support of SR 71. I'm really proud to stand here and not only support this, but honor the work that Habitat for Humanity does to realize not only the California dream, but generations to come will see that promise of America come to fruition. Habitat for Humanity is about more than building homes. It's about lifting families out of poverty and restoring dignity and humanity, stability, and hope that every single family here in California deserves. When a family has a safe place to lay their head at night, children do better in schools, parents can pursue opportunities, and entire communities rise together as one. In a moment when housing insecurity is pushing people to the brink, Habitat reminds us that compassion paired with action can change the trajectory of someone's life. Habitat for Humanity is about community, and I certainly appreciate them working together with locals. I've had the honor of working with them on so many projects in the San Gabriel Valley, building homes, converting churches into affordable housing. And so whenever we see the opportunity to support, I encourage all of us to step up, not only with our time, with support, but also with funding. They do great, great work, and I hope that we continue to support these organizations in our community that really do miracles in terms of bringing families into the forefront and not behind the scenes, crying for food, crying for a place to sleep, crying for the opportunity to just belong and feel safe. In a moment, as I share, where everyone is struggling, I hope that I continue to work with them. I hope that they continue to come to all of us, and I hope that as a Senate, we understand that this is a critical part of helping families move forward. And with that, I ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
See no further discussion. Senator Adigan, you may close.
Well, thank you, Madam President. I want to thank all the senators for their comments and the co-authors for their support of this important resolution. And as I noted in my initial comments, so much work has been done over the past decade to streamline rules to make it easier to build new homes in California, but the focus has been on building rental housing and not affordable homeownership opportunities. And as the new chair of the Senate Housing Committee, This will be a key focus of our work, and I know it's going to be the focus of the work in the Assembly, to look at how do we incentivize the construction of new entry-level homeownership opportunities in California, because it's people like me and people like my friends in my generation who can't afford the cost of a home in the communities that they live in and they represent. The median home in Berkeley is $2 million. So many people of my generation and people throughout California who are longtime renters, working families, people of color, are priced out of our housing market because we have a supply problem, and that impacts the availability and affordability of homeownership in California. I want to just thank my colleagues for noting the systemic barriers that exist, which are due to intentional decisions by government through redlining to racially exclude communities from living in certain parts of our state. And if we are committed to racial equity as a state, we need to advance efforts to expand affordable homeownership opportunities in the state for all people in California, to make sure that we are opening the doors of opportunity, generational wealth for Californians in our state. So I want to thank everyone for their support. I want to thank the important work of Habitat for Humanity. I'll be recognizing some members of Habitat who are here on the floor very shortly. And also just want to reinforce the importance of funding as well as a key piece of our homeownership strategy. And I want to just emphasize the importance of funding programs like Cal Home, which are essential to making homeownership a reality in California. With that, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Alvarado Gil. Aye. Archuleta. Aye. Adeguin. Aye. Ashby. Aye. Becker. Aye. Blakespear. Aye. Cabaldon. Aye. Caballero. Aye. Cervantes. Aye. Choi. Cortese. Aye. Daly. Aye. Durazo. Aye. Gonzalez. Aye. Grayson. Aye. Grove. Aye. Hurtado. Aye. Jones. Laird. Aye. Limon. Aye. McGuire. Aye. McNerney. Aye. Menjivar. Aye. Nilo. Aye. Ochoa Bog. Padilla. Aye. Perez. Aye. Reyes. Aye. Richardson. Rubio. Aye. Ciarto. Aye. Smallwood Cuevas. Aye. Stern. Aye. Strickland. Umberg. Aye. Valadares. Wahab. Aye. Weber Pearson. Aye. Wiener. Aye.
Please call the absent members.
Choi. Jones. Aye. Ochoa Bog. Richardson. Strickland. Valadares.
Ayes 35, no 0. Resolution passes. I know it's exciting, guests, but we cannot clap. Appreciate it. We can wave in the air. Thank you so much. Senator Adeguin, back to you under privileges of the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. So in conjunction with the passage of SR 71, which we just adopted, thank you, colleagues, with me on the floor today and in the gallery, and we just heard them, are members of Habitat for Humanity from different regions and communities all over California who are here in Sacramento today to meet with all of us during Habitat for Humanity's annual Advocacy Day. And their presence here today is a powerful reminder that affordable homeownership isn't abstract, it's real, it's local, it's happening in the districts that are represented by all of us in this chamber. This work is largely funded by the Cal Home program, California's only state program dedicated to producing and preserving affordable homeownership for low-income families. Cal Home doesn't just help families buy homes, it builds new homes, it creates permanent affordability, and ensures those homes remain affordable for future generations. And through shared equity models, deed restrictions, and resale covenants, Cal Home's investments are protected and multiplied over time. Habitat for Humanity and Cal Home ensure that these homes get built to stabilize families, strengthen neighborhoods, and remain affordable for the next generation, exactly the kind of long-term public return California should be investing in. So please join me in giving a warm Senate welcome to our friends from Habitat for Humanity in recognition of the work that they do to make the dream of homeownership a reality in our communities across the state.
Welcome to the State Senate, and thank you so much for what you do. After Senator Adeguin takes a photo with them, if any member wishes to join in the group photo, that would be the time.